Representative Dan Sullivan is with us. Dan Sullivan is the state representative from District 53. Dan, welcome, sir.
Hey, Paul, thank you for taking my call today. And I know you got a lot of breaking news go on, and you're a statewide radio station now, so this is kind of local information in one sense. However, it does affect everybody, so I appreciate you letting me come on.
First of all, how are you? You're still down at the Marble Palace, I'm assuming?
I am, and I'm headed back this evening to meet with constituents tomorrow. We don't have session tomorrow, our committee, so I'll be headed back later tonight.
Good. All right, so District 53, remind the rest of the audience where that is.
Sure, it is the northeast corner of Craighead County that includes, part of the eastern district of Craighead County, but also part of the western district of Craighead County.
And that is the subject of your call, because there's a bill out there. What's it going to do? It's going to do away with the Eastern District or something?
Well, actually, Paul, the bill just strikes out some language that was inserted in, I think, 2003 that kind of addressed some concerns that people of the Eastern District and the western part of the district had. And actually, Paul, my concern is not so much with the bill. I think the bill is worth a good debate. And, it's always good when people can solve issues and talk about issues up front. But on January the 27th, I met with the Craighead County Quorum Court and the county officials to discuss whether or not the Eastern District, some practices that were going on were illegal, unethical, or whatever. And I actually met with the legislative audit down at the state, and there was some concern whether some of the duties that were being performed over in the Eastern District were illegal or are legal. And actually, the legislative audit said there was nothing illegal going on, actually agreeing with the Attorney General's opinion and others' opinion that there were some segregation of duties, responsibilities, but those could all be taken care of by a mutual agreement. On the 27th, we met with the Quorum Court and had testimony from several people, and at the end of that discussion, the several members of the circuit of our county officials, 3 members of our county officials, I think Cade and Hannah and Wes were all there. Our circuit clerk was not there. Candace Edwards was not there. I don't know why, but she chose not to attend. And they all agreed, raised their hands, and said, yeah, we agree that we can come up with a memorandum of understanding on how to handle these issues at the Quorum Court, or with the court in the Eastern District. And everybody agreed to that. To my recollection, the Quorum Court unanimously said, yeah, we can work out, we'd like you guys to work out a memorandum of understanding. There's been a couple of meetings since then. I haven't been to them, but my understanding was that each one of those meetings, those officials, county officials, agreed, yes, we can work this out at the local level.
Okay.
Then all of a sudden today there's a bill that's filed that would essentially take that out of our local officials' hands to resolve that issue.
Yeah, so that's what I was about to say. I was kind of going to summarize. Sounds like there was an agreement at the local level, and now we have a bill, Senator John Cooper from Northeast Arkansas, Senate Bill 535, essentially. It says an act concerning judicial districts. It says being enacted by the General Assembly of the state of Arkansas, and it says uncodified acts of 1883, number 61 is repealed. And then it crosses out that the county of Craighead County shall be divided into 2 judicial districts to be called the Jonesboro District and the Lake City District. And so you're saying that maybe this is a debate to be had, but why is the bill filed? Because we had local officials saying, hey, we'll take care of this and resolve this without legislative action. Is that what you're saying, Dan?
Correct, Paul. Absolutely. And I've been involved with this for quite a while. And I don't know that other state officials have. People would have to talk with them. But I've been involved with our county officials. They asked me for Attorney General's opinion. I got that. They asked me to attend several conference calls to discuss the issue. I did those. They asked me to kind of look into a couple of other things with legislative audit. I did that. They asked me to show up at that the Quorum Court meeting. I attended that. And actually, our district attorney, Scott Ellington, was actually the one that made that request to the Quorum Court that these folks come up with our 4 elected county officials there Scott actually made that request that they come up with a memorandum of understanding, and they all agreed. And Mayor Milligan from Lake City asked each one individually if they agreed, and all three agreed. Again, Candace Edwards was not there, but the three agreed and said, yes, we can do that. We'd be glad to do that and work that out locally. You know, it's really, and as a representative from that area, it's really disappointing more for me than anything else that our elected officials, who all happen to be Republicans, would exclude me from that process and essentially exclude the people of the Eastern District from that process. You know, if you want to run that bill, fine. Go back to the quorum court. Tell the quorum court, folks, we can't agree, and we're going to seek legislation. That's fine. Go ahead and do that. But to go around your elected officials who have all agreed, I don't know if Candace Edwards agreed or not, but all the other elected officials agreed, including the JPs, that we could solve this. And all of a sudden now we can't solve it, and all of a sudden now we're going to file a bill. That should bring some doubt in all citizens of Arkansas that when you have elected officials who give their word publicly and say, we'll solve this, and all of a sudden they throw folks under the bus and go file a bill at the state level, every voter in Craighead County, Democrat, Republican, you can be for the Eastern District Courthouse, opposed to the Eastern District Courthouse, but when those elected officials give their word that they're going to work this out, and then all of a sudden now they can't, and they fail to go back to the group and say, folks, we can't come to an agreement, we're going to have to take other measures. You know, I went to Brooklyn a few weeks ago against a bill that was filed and met with the people who were opposed to that bill for 3 hours and listened to them. Now, we went ahead and filed the legislation. It's going to come back up. But, you know, you have to go back to the people who elected you and say this is the best and this is an open, transparent deal. We're not trying to pull something on you.
Yeah, and, you know,
really
well, what's interesting is, we're talking with Dan Sullivan, and this, it's some pretty local stuff that he's talking about here, but it sounds to me like there was a lot of meetings, a lot of discussion with this, and I think everybody can kind of appreciate this wherever you are in this state, because the fact is these bills, get passed. Especially bills like this, Dan, you know it. They get passed like it's as easy as breathing, and so you got to raise awareness to it, or I mean, this thing could run next week and become law by Friday. I mean, it really could. So,
absolutely, and I appreciate you taking the time. I know you got some big stuff out there, but this is kind of in that same vein. You have elected officials who give their word, and we trust that they will honor their word. And when they don't take it back to the people and take it back to the source, you can agree or disagree. That's fine, but don't bypass that transparent process of saying, folks, we can't come to an agreement. Here's what we're going to do.
Yeah, I think that's I commend you. Anytime we're talking about transparency, it's a good thing. Dan Sullivan, I appreciate it, sir. Thanks for coming on and tell us what we can do if your constituents need to do something. Go ahead and tell them what they should do.
Well, I would encourage them to call their county officials and just ask why we can't come to this agreement. If they've got a good answer, fine.
Yeah.
If they can say, here's A, B, and C why we can't agree, all right, that's a good deal. That's what this is all about. So I would encourage them to call their local county elected officials and just ask why this isn't working. What's the problem? What's the holdup, and who is it? It seems to me to be more. It's not to be a leadership issue than it is a process issue.
Mm-hmm.
Process is fine. We need leaders who will step up and lead the people. And you can be in disagreement and lead, or you can be in agreement with and lead. But we need leadership here.
Yeah. State Representative Dan Sullivan, appreciate it, sir. Be safe on your ride home.
Thank you, Paul.
All right. Hey, folks.